Hello everyone, Oliver here. I am going to be talking to you a little bit about the virtue of patience when learning a new language. Like we all know that language learning takes a really long time sometimes. And so what is the importance of being patient throughout that journey? I would say after learning myself 5 different languages, as you know, I've spoken about this before, I'm learning my sixth language, which is Mandarin Chinese. It takes a lot of patience, I'm finding. It's really, really difficult because you set goals for yourself and they're over here and then you're making progress, but you're only like right here. And so you have that much space where you're like, wow, what is going wrong? What am I doing that is not allowing me to get from here to here? So I would just want to start off by saying patience is a virtue, okay? Patience is a vital quality, actually, when learning English. For example, if you're a non-native English speaker, English is pretty difficult because a lot of times the words are spelled differently and they sound differently, and it's all not all the journey is not always hunky-dory. Believe me, because I've taught English for 10 years and this is something that I hear quite a bit. Um, Having patience, it's the ability to stay calm, to stay composed, even in the face of the most difficult challenges. Just acknowledging that language acquisition is a gradual process and it cannot be rushed. So if you are an ESL speaker or if you are an ESL language learner and you're learning English as your second language, just understand that you might not achieve fluency right away. It doesn't happen overnight. This is crucial to understand so you can avoid the frustrating feelings that you're going to encounter along your journey and just overall maintaining a very positive attitude towards the language learning journey. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the students that I've met and that I've helped in the past to learn English and talk to you a little bit about their journeys towards English fluency because it's something, believe me, that requires, like I said, a lot of patience. So I had this one student who was from Taiwan. They moved to the United States for higher education, but even though they had very little amount of knowledge of the English language, there were still so many challenges that they faced because in English we have colloquial expressions, we have slang. There's so much that goes into learning English. And at times I saw her, she looked really disheartened. She worried that she would never ever fully grasp the language. But you know what? She remained patient. She remained patient. Patience is a virtue, like I said in the beginning. So one of the things that you should be doing is thinking, okay, how can I expand in this language? And, think about the time that it's going to take to do that. But don't get disheartened by that. Start attending language workshops like she did. Practice daily. Seek help from native speakers. Ask your teacher. And then over time, your patience is going to pay off because you're going to gain all the confidence that you need in order to acquire that skill in the language that you're trying to learn. So today I can safely say that that is a student who speaks, wow, beautiful English. And I think she should credit her experience of learning the language to patience because that's what it takes. Okay, I also want to talk to you a little bit about perseverance. Perseverance is a huge one. It cannot go understated because perseverance is what it is that takes you from being that have low quality skills into achieving a much greater proficiency in language. I had this one student who was from Albania and they spoke very little English, but they loved learning the language. And one of their problems was grammar. The grammar rules in English they found really just challenging and difficult to remember. And it was really impeding them from having that level of fluency that they would need in order to survive living in England or in the United States. So I just want to say about this student, he never gave up. He always continued to persevere and persist in his studies. He always sought guidance from different teachers, and he was always practicing with new language partners, even students who were maybe a little bit above his level who spoke English. He was constantly practicing with them in class and then gaining those new words and expressions and vocabulary and employing them in his own vocabulary. So despite all setbacks to learning the English language, he studied over time, and that progression helped him to eventually achieve a scholarship actually in English to go study abroad and study whatever he wanted to study, but to do it in English. That was something that he achieved, and I'm very proud of him for doing that. And again, he was able to secure a scholarship, and he ended up turning his dreams into reality. But again, it just takes patience. Okay, I think I should tell you a little bit about my own experiences because, as you know, I've learned 5 languages that I speak at different levels, but I'm pretty good at each one. And I'm learning Chinese, so I really know what it kind of takes and the frustration that exists when learning a new language. I think patience is, for me, I'm a fairly patient person, but when learning a new language, we're talking years of progression. So how much patience do you really have? Well, that's kind of where perseverance comes into play. You can never give up. Never, ever give up. And don't demotivate yourself by saying, I can't do this. Oh, I don't want to do this today. Or what does this serve me to learn, this new language? Like, I don't work in this language. I never speak to anybody in this language. All I like to do is watch movies in this language. Well, use that as a goalpost for motivation in learning a new language. Why not? You got to have patience and you got to persevere. So I kind of use this when learning, for example, I learned Albanian. One of the things that I found really difficult in Albanian was the grammar. It was just horrendous. But you know what? I got out a grammar book and I would constantly be memorizing different conjugations with Albanian grammar, and I would be using them in sentences and repeating them over and over and over again. One method that I had when teaching students was if they're going to learn a new vocabulary term, they have to repeat that word 10 times. So say they learn the word mouse, for example, mouse for your computer. I would have them say mouse 10 times. Say it to me. Mouse, 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 and so on. And over time, they will learn. Over time, I learned. So actually right now I live in Israel. One of the things that I use, one of the methods that I use in Israel to learn a new language is just constant repetition. If I see a sign on a store displayed outside, I'm looking at that sign and I'm trying to figure out how you pronounce it correctly. And if I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, I will ask somebody how to pronounce it correctly. And then I repeat that word over and over and over in my head. I write it down in my phone, and then I try and use it in sentences when I'm speaking to friends or whatever. So again, it's been like 2 years. I'm sort of at an intermediate level in Hebrew. And I am making progress, but it's a hard language, but it's all about perseverance. So if you can persevere, you're going to end up one day getting there. Like I did in, say, French, for example. I speak pretty good French. And again, I had to use these methods when learning French. So I would say after months of just constant effort, you're going to get there. And don't be demotivated in learning a new language. Try and find the reasons why you should learn the language, and that will help keep you motivated in the future. So again, in conclusion, I just want to say that when you are learning a new language, it's a very transformative experience. And it's a weird feeling when you know another language and then you hear it on TV, or you're going out at the grocery store, and then you start hearing that language in the grocery store. You think, oh my God, I know what they're saying. I think I know where they're from. Let me go maybe strike up a conversation with them. But in order to get that, in order to achieve that level, you have to stay patient and you have to persevere. And this is because it allows you to grasp the gradual nature of language acquisition and to stay positive as well. That's also one thing that you should do, is just stay positive. The perseverance part helps empower you. It pushes you forward. Even when you're faced with all the challenges in the world, just know that the hard work of constantly repeating words and reading grammar and reading different books and practicing your pronunciation after watching a new movie, all that is eventually going to pay off. And there's many real life examples, such as the examples that I gave you of my students or the examples that I gave you of myself. These are just different ways that you can use to embrace the patience that it takes to learn a new language and the perseverance, and then navigate yourself through that journey with a sense of confidence and the feeling that, you know what, I can do this. Because achieving your language goal and just reaping the countless rewards of being multilingual is just a really phenomenal feeling. So I'll go ahead and leave the video there. I hope you enjoyed listening to me, and I'll see you in the next video. So again, my name is Oliver, and tune in next time. Bye.